All right, so obviously this is brought to you by Filex. I'm going to give Filex Business Summit a plug. We're on August 22nd and 23rd in Sydney. It's going to be at the Hilton Hotel. We've got some powerhouse speakers, so some incredible speakers, Amanda Stevens, Charlie Valla. We've got obviously Chantel emceeing it, but we've got a host. We've got Jackson Milan. We've got Lachlan Ralston. We've got some really good operators. The list continues to build. And so if you want to hear from some amazing innovators, thought leaders, both from within and outside of the industry, then you want to be there. It's only $5.99 and it's a fully catered event with drinks. Plus, we're giving a $100 discount because you're on this call. So if you use the word elite, you'll get $100 on top of that. So it's $4.99 for a 2-day conference in the Hilton with some of the best speakers in the country, and it's fully catered with drinks. So and an expo as well. So pretty impressive. So if you are looking to grow your business, if you want to connect, collaborate with some amazing people, then I would implore you to get there. So that's my plug for Filex Business Summit. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Dan. I'm one of the owners of Filex. But today what we are here for is we're here for Amanda Bracks. I don't even know if Braxy needs an introduction. Everyone knows who Braxy is. She's an absolute legend, and I don't say that lightly. She is of the industry. Her CV is as good as anybody's in the industry itself. She's done everything from a corporate level. She's set all kinds of sales records. She's published in the sales space. She's had her own facility that she took to absolute incredible levels here in Sydney. She's in the Hall of Fame for AusActive. And she's just an all-around legend because she's here to serve the industry and deliver value and content each and every time. So I always love hearing from her. Today, she's speaking about a topic which I think is one of the most important topics right now for everybody in our industry. And it's a shame that more people aren't on here live, but those watching on replay, you're going to get a lot of value as well, because it's all about mastering your follow-up, mastering your lead follow-up, because right now, there's some certain challenges when it comes to lead follow-up that haven't been as prevalent as it's been in the past. And if you get this right, it's an important component of building a really successful business and hitting those numbers and growth targets that you want. And it doesn't happen without an incredible follow-up system. So Braxy, I'm going to hand over to you and can't wait to hear you deliver the goods.
All right, let's just get this going. Can you guys see that presentation now? Just give me a nod. Yeah, good. Thanks. Thanks, Dan. So I'm just going to minimize the cameras just so I can see my presentation. So I can't see you guys. But if you would like to put the microphone on and ask a question, by all means, I'll just stop and we can go for a question. I'm going to dive into mastering follow-up. Dan and I both been talking. He's obviously a very good, his resources and skill set is at generating a lot of leads. And I'm seeing that across the industry is that the leads are coming in, but for some reason, we don't have the systems that we used to have. I think we are trying to find the solutions. We were just chatting off camera before. I think everyone's looking for the quick fix. And when it comes to selling fitness, unfortunately, there is no quick fix. So we'll dive into the reasons why and we'll get into it. So, but please feel free, by all means, interrupt me and just throw your mic on. I've just got a PowerPoint presentation. So background, Dan was explaining, funny enough, Filex was my first real sort of education platform to go to as a club manager back in 1995. And the club I was working with, we grew to 4,500 members, over 4.5 million, and we won a Club of the Year, Australian Club of the Year. I won Manager of the Year many times. We won that award, and that was a huge facility. So I've been part of the big box clubs, not just that one, others. And then the owner of that company, he went off and opened the first ever direct debit company in Australia. So my role was to travel around the country and put in direct debit. And so pretty much I've been into every state, 100% I've been to every state in Australia, and continually to this day. Just then I've just been speaking to Dan. I was in Central Coast in New South Wales yesterday, and I've been in Adelaide in clubs on Monday and Tuesday this week. So I'm still looking, I'm still on site, relevant, and I also work a lot overseas in India, China, Asia as a whole, the US, UK, and New Zealand. So I just want to give you some background because it comes from the perspective of where this information is coming from. It's not necessarily my background. It's kind of, I'm trying to bring you where the information has come from. I've also owned a yoga and Pilates studio, which I sold last year, and that was Australian Boutique of the Year. That turned over 1.25 million. I've been a coach for a long time. I present, like we said, everywhere. And I'm also a judge in the Oz Active Awards. Funny enough, I've got a meeting with them after this session. So I've done New Zealand as well, and I've also involved in managing a franchise with their marketing, and now I'm currently looking after sales for another fitness franchise. So I get to see 15 to 20,000 leads a month and what they're doing just in one organization I work with, and then with other clients I get to see all the leads and what they're happening in the conversion. So the information is coming from a wide spec. I forgot to say leisure, so I also was very lucky enough to work in leisure in 2 organizations, a non-for-profit and a profit. And so this applies to leisure as well. And I still work with a council with 3 leisure centres at the moment. So lots going on there, and that's where all the information has come from. Besides that, reading and lecturing, but Filex was the first go-to I used to go and listen and learn, and it has always been a renowned platform for really good quality speakers. So if you have got the opportunity to go down in August or come up in August to the event, Amanda Stevens is a personal friend of mine, so Chantel, so is a lot of the speakers. Please spend the time. And it's just not just that, it's the networking. Like my best friends in the industry come from those network events. It's not even also what's been said at the events, it's what's been said at the tables, outside in the little chats around the coffee machine, or even you just end up having dinner with people you didn't even know before, and you end up spending quality time with them. And we didn't even have social media back then, so the connection these days is so much easier with social media. Filex produces so much more than just exceptional speakers. So I really encourage you to do that. Okay, so where are your leads coming from? We really want to look at where the leads are coming from, where they're driven from. So you've got WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook. You might have LeadBridge in between your social media ads and your CRM systems, Google ads. You might have a digital, Groupon type style discount marketing, digital campaign going, email. They can come through from phone inquiries. There's so many ways digital. It actually blows my mind where all the leads come from. You can't keep up. You can have a company such as Zip Leads, or there's other companies that will pull all those leads together and put them into one funnel. Or you might have them all just driving to your CRM. If you don't have that many leads a week, you don't need those sort of things. You can manage it. But if you have many, like hundreds of leads a week, then you're going to need a funnel to manage the leads and make sure they're all coming to one landing point. All right, so where else are they coming from besides digitally? Hopefully you'll have lead boxes out, or you might do a litter box drop every now and again. I'm actually doing one for a company next month because no one's doing them at the moment, and I'm interested in blue oceans. And what that means is when, you're all fighting for the same space, like on social media, you're literally all fighting for the same space. And fitness ads are not just fighting with other fitness brands, but you're fighting with Kmart, Target, Mercedes, anybody, because literally there is one space. It's not a magazine which has the automotive section and then the fitness section. You just have one space on a platform that everyone's fighting for. So it's actually such a red ocean where all the sharks are feeding that I like blue ocean strategy. There's a great book with that title which talks about those concepts. So in marketing, Simon Reynolds also had a book called When They Zig You Zag, which I've also read a long time ago, and that was always the foundation of my marketing pieces. I don't tend to do what everyone else is doing. I tend to go where no one else is, and that it generally works a lot. So if no one's letterbox dropping, and they're not, today actually I got a letterbox drop from a friend of mine's fitness facility, personal training facilities. So Sky Fitness, shout out to you guys. Good job. That was amazing that you did that, because again, I haven't had a letterbox drop from anyone for a long time. And then we've got shopping center displays. So you can do outreach displays, shopping center, and you can do outreach like street reach where you're handing out flyers. But there's many other ways that you can do lead generation, such as referrals and lots of local area marketing, business networking, etc. So you've got your digital marketing platform, and you also have your non-digital marketing platform. But what gets done offline will get you leads online. And if you've got a small business and you're slightly overwhelmed, my thing is just do one thing and do it well, inspect that it's working, and then move on only after you get one thing working. So maybe you just put a new channel in play every month, and in 12 months, you'll have 12 channels spinning at the same time. The biggest mistake people make is replacing their channels instead of trying to get them all working at the same time. So even with a small boutique business, I would have had, I think, about 18 channels literally spinning at one time. But that, again, takes infrastructure and time to set up. All right, so what mindset are the leads in? And that's a big question to make. So where are the leads coming from? First up, we just went through that. And then what mindset are the leads in? So the Stages of Change model founded by the social marketers is a place where I always work out where the leads are coming from. One, in regards to where do we want to market and what leads do we want to attract? And then two, how do we then work them into our lead flow? Because they're all different. So pre-contemplation, as some of you know, is denial, where they are seriously not thinking about anything. They're actually making excuses like, my grandma smoked until she was 88 and she lived a great life, so it's not going to affect me, that type of thing. And then you've got contemplation, where they're in thinking about change. So they're in the thinking about it mode, or they're the I should people. I should get started in a fitness business, or I should start Pilates. And then they're in preparation, where they're making serious steps to take actions. They might be sending you a lead on an email, or they might be phoning you or walking in. So that's why we always say in the industry that walk-ins should be closed on the day. If you've got a walk-in walking out, you've done something to put them off, because they were very ready when they walked in. Even if they say that they might have just walked past and dropped in, people's actions speak much louder than their words. And they've walked physically into your business. They are ready. They're in preparation. Then you've got action, which is the day they start their program with you. And then you've got maintenance. In fact, now I look through this, I don't even think 10 pass holders even come into action. I still think they're in preparation. Like, they might buy, unless you've got like a really efficient follow-up process and it's an auto renew type system. I feel like, now I'm thinking about it, that the 10 pass people are still probably between preparation and action. Only when you join a membership and you're there with your mindset that you're going to be there for 6 months or longer are you really in action, because maintenance is a person that's exercising for 6 months or longer. So even the 10 pass holders, if they're just there for a quick hit, they're not even really coming into that action phase very well, are they? So it's interesting about what even you are selling, how you're advertising, and then how do you handle these leads will affect how these people come through your flow chart. The lead funnels. So we talked about all the leads being all over the place, and with your CRM system, hopefully your leads flow into your CRM. So if you're using MindBody, in Facebook, they have things like lead bridges and whatnot that they can, you can do a lead, generate a lead through Facebook, and then you might have a lead bridge that sends it straight into your MindBody CRM. Or you might go into your Facebook page or it might send it through an email that there's one in there, or you might go in and download the leads from Lead Center in an Excel spreadsheet. And then you might just punch them all into the system and start ringing them. And all of those systems are perfectly fine. If you've got Facebook running from a manual system like that, just put that on a clipboard or a folder with your script. And that way you can just highlight off who's been booked and keep working on them through the week. But obviously you'll put all the details straight away into CRM. Even if you get a lead out of outreach, it goes straight into your CRM. So some clubs are still using the 1 to 31 folder. What that means is that any needs analysis sheet or welcome register or guest register, any tour that you do or any phone inquiry that you make will go into 1 to 31 folder for follow-up. So you get a folder at the newsagent or the Officeworks. You get the little tabs that say 1 to 31, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they're the days of the month. And then you'll slot in your manual pieces of paper on the day that they're due for a call. And that manual system, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And to be honest, it's more thorough than any computer system I've seen. However, I do love a CRM. But with the 1 to 31 folder, there's all sorts of other things like the person can be completely responsible for their leads with the CRM. You can allocate it to a certain person, or you can just let all the team call. There's a lot of different ways you can manage your leads. And a diary is essential. So a communication diary in your business is essential for other things, such as I've not yet seen a CRM system that will pop up, hey, Amanda, call Judy at 12 o'clock. Like usually it'll be in the call logs for the day. But if I've told a client that if they said, oh, they can be called back at 12, most CRMs don't have a time or an alarm that will pop up and say, hey, Judy's due for a call. So that's when you'll probably need a manual diary for your club or studio. And you would write in there, call Judy Judy Smith lead at 12 to book a tour. And then the person doing that call can go in the CRM and look at the notes and then get onto that and make sure that call's done and then highlight it when it's been done. So you can see that there's faults in all systems, but you just got to make sure that you have a system, I think, at the end of the day. So the CRM is definitely great, like Mindbody, or it might be Links or any of the software systems, and then a diary as well, or a 1 to 31 folder and a diary. And if you're using 1 to 31 folder, you're still going to need to use the CRM system. So in my boutique yoga studio and in the bigger gyms, we've always used a 1 to 31 folder because I had staff responsible for their own leads. And we would put the data into the CRM, put notes. They would still work through their 1 to 31 folder. And then we would allocate all the notes on the back would also go into the system. It seems like you're double handling, but I just like being extremely thorough. And to be honest, we didn't. We actually hit our sales target all the time. So in funneling, what is the biggest mistake, or actually in lead generation, what is the biggest mistake? Well, what I'm seeing at the moment across a lot of fitness businesses is when the salesperson or the person in club actually then sends the lead back into the marketing funnel. So this is the biggest mistake I see. What I mean by that is that a lead comes through and they send them a text back, or they send them a zip message back. So someone's put their hand up and said, hi, yes, I'm going to respond to your ad. The next step should be a phone call, not sending them back down the marketing funnel. So anything task related is marketing. So if you're going to text them, that's putting them back down and then putting the ownership back on them to recontact you again. Like that's too much for a consumer. So a lot of the lead generation ends up with this. It's like everybody, and I've seen this on a social media story this week from a meditation practitioner. How often should I contact a lead is one of the things that's been talked about. And I talked about to someone in a coaching session this morning. Well, that really comes down to relevance and purpose, doesn't it? So it comes down to the type of lead that you've got, and the type of marketing that you're doing, and the readiness that that person is to get started. So it comes down to what content you're delivering in your marketing piece. And I'll explain that in a bit more on what your offer is. All right. So, and the brand. So with your brand, you want to be going, okay, so what is our brand? Are we 5-star? Are we cheap part of the market? Where do we sit? And then what is our level of service after that? And then what's our communication look like? Does our communication match all the brand? So these are the things that we need to talk about and you need to think through. Small or large businesses. I find sometimes the larger businesses are more disconnected than what they're delivering than the smaller ones. So even if you're an owner operator of a studio, you still need to go through what type of messaging you want to do. So if this is my example. So if you're doing a social media campaign on going the door to win a free membership, then you're going to get a whole lot of people that are in pre-contemplation, denial, and contemplation, and the leads are not going to be that qualified. So when you've done 100 calls this month, they're probably going to get 5 to 10 people pick up the phone. And it's the quality of the lead that's diluted based off your campaign. I myself literally just paid $30 from, one of those competitions, the LMT competitions, I think it is, the guys that, they buy all the block houses and they do all the competitions on Facebook. I paid $30 for a Land Cruiser 79 series competition. Now, it was a humongous car, and my daughter loves those cars, but I actually thought, oh, well, I don't know where I'm going to put it or anything, but I'm going to pay $30 to go in the draw to win it. Now, I'm not a Land Cruiser 79 series customer. I'm not looking for one at the moment. So if we're looking at hot leads, I'm not a hot lead. In fact, I'm not a lead at all, but I'm going to go in the draw to win something. And that's how we've got to understand that the leads are coming through any competition that's not face to face. If you're doing it in outreach on a stand in a shopping mall, casual leasing, you've got time to qualify that person and see how interested they are and talk to them. But on Facebook, you don't have that opportunity. And it's just quick. Here's your name and number, and you're in. You don't even have to put any skin in the game, like $30 or even, qualify. So the other campaign would be, this one is a joining campaign, you can see, and it says 1, 2 free, 2 months free when you join. So join today and get your first 2 months free. Now that is going to appeal to someone much further down the stage of change in preparation, someone that's looking to join, and it's just going to move the process faster, and get that person ready. It's going to create urgency because they're like, I've been thinking about joining the gym. I might as well do it while this great offer's on. So it's just going to speed up their decision-making process, but they were already thinking about joining. So I hope you understand how different the two leads are. And then what are we going to do with follow-up? So on the left, with the giveaways, I'd ring them once or twice, or ring them once, send them an email, and then maybe send them an offer like a trial pass, and then I would just dead lead them, because you could spend hours ringing hundreds and hundreds of leads, and I promise you, you're not going to get anywhere. Yeah, some people join off this campaign 100%, but if they saw the other one on the right, they would have joined anyway, right? You just sometimes pick up the people that are ready to join in this campaign. But there's no use doing this type of campaign and ringing and ringing and ringing, because that person like me with the 79 series actually isn't in the market to buy one. I just would have liked to have won one. Some people will make their mind up whether they're going to use the gym membership once they have actually won. They're not even decided they want to do it yet. But the one on the right, everybody's qualified and they're coming through. So that one, I would definitely get into the lead flow of two calls in the first day. And I'll show you that a little bit later on. So lead management 101, advertising dollars leads to a lead. Then we go into the flow. And the flow is going to be into your CRM system, or you could send them from your social media ads straight to your shopping cart on your website. Absolutely. And then you go into conversion. So from conversion, call to book the appointment, or buy, do not buy. Okay, so the person's either buying or do not buy. So I hope that makes sense. So you want to be spending dollars to get the person to come into the CRM, or direct straight to your shopping cart is perfectly fine. I've sold 3 memberships with a club the other night by directing the social media ads straight to the shopping cart on the website, because we have an offer. And then you've got your conversion. So call to book an appointment, or they might just go through the shopping cart and do not buy. And then you've got to call them to help them close that sale online. So what's the difference? So marketing is really task orientated, and it's to generate a lead. Sales is a people orientated task. Don't get lazy and send a text back to the client without a call first. And I know some of you don't have time, and I know it's hard, but you've got to actually find the resources and the finances to do it. If you want to generate leads, then we need to, if you've got teachers or trainers, maybe in the morning for an hour, that's part of their job. You get the scripts and you get all the processes together, and that's their job to do that. And then later on in the afternoon, same thing. And you can work out when the best times of the day to call. All right, so here's my 14 hot tips. It feels like I've given you a hit, but it's my hot tips on how to get through this call flow process. So the sweet spot for all your new leads is the first 24 hours, probably except for even for the competition style lead, to be honest with you, because they've just sent it off. Well, why not get on the phone to them straight away? Now, if they don't pick up, that's okay. We'll work that through into a different lead flow than a normal lead that's coming to you about your trial or about your joining offer. But you've got to understand that first 24 hours is a hot spot. I got asked the other day, should you email them every day until they don't join? I said, absolutely not. So what you've got to do is the leads are most likely to book a tour or buy a membership within the first 24 hours of sending through the inquiry. Ensure you have contacted the new leads multiple times. So 2 to 4 times during the first 24 hours of their lead before their motivation dies off. You really have the sweet spot. This is the time when the person is most motivated to take action. So if they're not going to pick up the phone or get started in that first 24 hours, your work is a lot harder as you move down the timeline of the week. And just remember, your role is to understand that if you get them in the first 24 hours, you'll move them from contemplation into preparation and then into action by addressing them very quickly once that lead's come in. And you've got to these days respect the competition. Like nowadays, when someone's hit your website or your social media ad, don't think for a second that they're not going to now start seeing all the competition ads coming up, because you've got retargeting. I can even go into easy set up a campaign now, and I can hit anybody that likes Fitness First, and we can go all the way through uh, other brands. Like not always are other brands available, but I can easily today just go and hit anybody that likes Fitness First's page and then replicate that, probably Anytime Fitness and all the larger clubs. It's available for us in Facebook to do that. Now, I think the algorithms are going to change in Facebook, where those preferences are going to change. It seems to be moving away to things that you've liked and engaged with, the consumers done. That's when Facebook's going to change the algorithms and start moving into more of an AI style of algorithm. So the things that we target might not necessarily work, and that might actually be removed. But at this moment, to this day, those things are still there to play with. But retargeting, so even if that could even be worse for us. So if someone's hit a gym in your suburb and looked at it, or your ad, well, then Facebook's going to, their AI is going to know that you're in the market for a gym membership, and then they might start pumping them everybody else's campaigns. So who knows what's ahead of us, but that's most likely. So get on the phone and ring your client ASAP. So you're not going to be their only solution, and serve them quicker than your competition. It just is good service. Use brand orientated communication. So your lead flow process must reflect your brand. And if you've got a high service model, like a personal training studio, a high-end Pilates studio, the call is essential. Don't send them some 2-bit text that shows that you couldn't be bothered. Just remember, actions speak louder than words. If you pick the phone up, it shows you care and you're ready there to service a customer. If you flick them a text, it can show that you're pushing them away. It can actually feel like rejection. And the low service model, so if you're in the cheap end of the market, $9.95 a week, you know what? If you don't do a call and auto-respond to email or a text or something, does suit your model. So it can be more streamlined like that. And remember though, just the role of marketing is to get the lead, build a brand, start the relationship, and it's a task-orientated job. And then the role of sales is to get on the phone, make contact with the lead. It's a people-orientated job. We've got to I keep sales and marketing, those two words, way away from each other. They're very, very different. They're not the same thing. People say to me, oh yeah, I do sales and marketing. Like I go, okay, well, tell me about that. And they'll really be deficient in one. Like I do sales and marketing. I've been the national marketing manager for a company, and now I'm the national sales manager for a company, but they're two different jobs. You just got to put that hat on and do the action when that person is ready, like depending on what your task is at hand. So if you've got leads, you need to start doing selling. And if you don't have leads, you need to go and do marketing. And your role as a salesperson is to help that person move forward. So you need to have a conversation and start being interactive with them. Unfortunately, guys, there's no short way around this. We can invent AI sort of chat bots and everything like that, but at the end of the day, a robot is not going to remove the risk from a person. They can come up with all the solutions in the world, but the fact is they're not going to be authentic, and people aren't going to believe them. There will never be a time where the salesperson is going to be made obsolete in certain industries. In some industries, it will be easy. Like if I want to buy a newsletter, automated newsletter program that's digital, that's pretty easy to go ahead and buy. But even still, you might have some questions that someone needs to resolve based on your situation. Number 6, don't make presumptions. And no answer does not mean not interested. Please don't make judgments. I hear it again yesterday when I was doing training. People are like, oh, but there's a lot of single mums, around, and they're busy and they don't have any money. I'm like, that's not for you to judge. If someone's coming through on a lead, your job is to move them forward with their goals. Your job is not to sum them up and then presume that they are a single mum, or presume that because they didn't answer that they don't want you anymore. That's just you not dealing with rejection very well. And I don't even see it as rejection. It's not yet. They just haven't answered the phone yet. They're busy. And understanding clients' behavior patterns is a really good part of this, where you can actually think about, we were on the phone this morning with club in a high-end area. It's like, you know what, your clients are over 40 high-end. They are not picking up the phone between 9 and 11 on a Monday morning. They're in meetings. Like, they are being highly efficient. You may get some mums in the area that might be available, but that is going to be a small niche market for this style of business. So what is your style of business? What is your target market? And then what are they doing in the day? Are they a busy working mum where she gets up in the morning and then maybe she's got a window of opportunity to exercise between 6 and 7, and you're not available, you know, at that time? And then she gets the kids ready, comes home, gets kids breakfast, get them ready for school or daycare, gets her computer, goes off and does work, comes home, picks them up, takes them to soccer training, walks a dog. This looks like me. Does the vacuuming in the does a bit of housework, cooks some dinner, and then pays the bills in the evening. I mean, this is literally a working mum. You know, it's now days of working dad as well. So when is the right time to call her? And you'll work that out through understanding your leads. But no answer. I can't just ring her once or twice and then go, oh, she doesn't want it anymore. She needs me not to give up on her. Do not give up on them. Just have good quality contact. So with all my scripting for my calls, I've got them all scripted. So generally it would say, hi, Mary, it's Amanda calling from XYZ Fitness. Look, I've given you a call about your inquiry to the center. I'll give you a call before 7 tonight, or I'll give you a call by 7. Actually, what I would say is give me a call back on 9422, whatever, by 7:30 p.m. If you don't call me back, I'll get one of my colleagues or another trainer to call this afternoon. So I'm going to tell her straight up that if she doesn't call me back, someone else is going to call her. So one, she's not surprised. And two, it's going to make her ring me. And that's where we get better quality contact. And then if my trainer rings this afternoon and says, oh, hi, Mary, Amanda gave you a call this morning. We couldn't get a hold of you. I know this might be a busy time for you, clearly, because I didn't answer. I'll be here till 8:30. Feel free to give me a call back. Otherwise, I'll get one of the receptionists to ring you in the morning. So again, we tell them when we're going to be calling them. So it's not going to be a surprise. They're not going to see 4 missed calls. Please always leave a message too, because no one wants 4 calls from the same number. They don't know what it's about. It's weird, and it's a business. So be professional. And that's a really good, important point, is to not give up on this person. It's not your job to do that. Understand your client's behavior patterns. If 10 a.m. is unavailable for the lead, perhaps try 4:30 or 8:30. We're on mobile phones now. If someone doesn't want to answer your call, they will not answer it. So my call time's from 8:15 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And that's actually the anchors of the day is my sweet spot for picking up and booking all the clients that couldn't book during the day. And guys, I know I'm hitting you with a lot of content. It's my brand. I am very content heavy. So if you'd like to just write down any questions, I can come back to them. I'll leave you 10 minutes towards the end. I'll wrap it up and we can do some questions. So definitely look at the times you're calling. I go through call logs and I'll see no answer, no answer, no answer, no answer. And the person was rung and through the same window because that person's shift is that time, 9 till 11 is their time they do the calls. And that's the only time they ring. I'm like, clearly that person's unavailable. You know, if they work in public service, if they're, you know, like myself, that's on Zoom coaching all day, I'm really good. My sweet spot, it's 4:30. If anyone wants to ring me at 4:30, I'm available. I'll be walking the dogs. I might be pre-workout, or I might be in between just tying up some admin. But if you ring me between 9 and 4:30 on most days, I'm unavailable. And a lot of you can say the same. So, but, you know, it's just about being lucky and finding the pattern is going to work. So where are we at? A lot of times the team may not be considering when would be the best time to call. And don't forget you've got weekends, and, you know, we're post lockdown period now, time to get busy and get your rosters back on weekends. And I've never not ever rostered a Sunday for a sales shift in the fitness industry. And even with boutique, I still have a salesperson there that does reception as well, because that's when busy people can come in and spend their day shopping and looking at things like their fitness program. So people are working longer hours than they ever have before. Technology hasn't saved us, it's actually trapped us and made us much more valuable to our bosses and our businesses. So Sundays and Saturdays, definitely think about a 8:30 to 12:30 or even 1:30 shift. And you'll be surprised how many sales, a lot of the businesses I'm putting in that shift, they're selling 3, 4, 5 memberships on that day. In your CRM, take a look at the most appropriate time and date for the follow-up call. By when the times they've called and gone left messages, you'll find out the best calls. So I have structured call times that we definitely work off, because the staff can get very distracted and we can get very distracted because we've got our mobile phone right there. We've got a million things going on. So I actually like just get on the phone for an hour and your goal is to book 5 appointments or whatever it is. And ensure your team is setting a minimum call number and a minimum booking number. Now, if they've booked 5 appointments, they might only ring 5 people. That's fine because you're spending time engaging with people. But if someone's only done, 5 calls in a 3-hour shift and no contacts, that's like 5 minutes worth of work. So what else are they doing to be productive? Schedule your team away from the service peak time. So 9:30 to 10:30 is like classes going in and out. Well, then clearly try and avoid doing your sales calls then. Do them later when you're quieter and do them like, between, if you've got someone on reception between 6 and 2 in a yoga studio, well, 6 o'clock's cleaning the studio time, 7 till 8 might be admin, like suspensions and everything, and then 8 till 9 or 8 till 9:30 might be sales, and then 9:30 servicing the customers for the next 2 hours. You've got to make sure it's structured to the flow of your business. Where are we at? So structure call times 9, always have scripts. Like, I'm phenomenally passionate about scripts, and we've just, in the company that I'm working with right now, some of you guys might be online. Hi. We've just done mystery shops to a huge amount of clubs and done in on-site and over the phone. On all occasions, there was a script because I knew there was, because of the questions that we asked the caller. And if they answered that was those questions were asked, I knew there was a script in place. All occasions, every customer said the call was unbelievable, awesome experience, and awesome service. The customer didn't know it was a script, but I knew it was. And every time the caller didn't have a script, and I knew because there was missing questions, the customer said it was disconnected, it felt clunky, awkward, and seriously, people say the dumbest things when they don't know what to say. So you might be experienced in that, you're still going to say dumb things. Like, you can't be that on point that memorize the questions word for word. So always have scripts because it makes the customer feel really secure because you're pointing them in the right direction. You're not talking nonsense and just rubbish questions. You're keeping them on point and helping them achieve their goals. It gives you a deeper dive into their needs. So they make staff more confident. It's more direct communication. The delivery is smoother, drives consistency in your brand. If Mary's making calls and Philip's making calls, I want it to be the same experience regardless who they get on the phone to the consumer. Increases results and effectiveness, because if you're doing a follow-up call such as this one and you're not getting any results, then what you should be doing is going back in and tweaking the words, and then you'll crack it out again, and then you'll figure out that's getting results. But if you're doing it for the first time, every single call a different way can never be better than what you are on the first call. So you want to make sure that you're scripting every single thing. Like I said, I script every single left message. If it's on the flow chart, like call 1, call 2, all the way to call 12, I will script everything, and I will script calls out and calls in. It's not that hard. Once you get a template, you just replicate it. Helps multitasking, because we're all multitasking these days, and it helps you to stay focused. ADHD, ADD, everybody's most of that is because the environment is creating this distraction. Like, even on your phone now, your phones used to just do one thing. You used to be able to ring or text. Now you can do probably 20 different ways of communication on a phone. It's ridiculous. You can send emails off multiple different accounts. You can send Snapchat, Messenger, WhatsApp. You've got a million different ways to connect with each other. Well, it feels like it this way. So the phone in itself, it's a massive problem. So it makes the call more purposeful and impacting, and let your staff stay focused to help your customer move forward. Number 10, what we don't do on the phone to our leads is we don't dive in. And if you don't have a script, write this down. The one question you need to ask is, and when you're ringing out or when they're ringing in, so what's made you inquire about XYZ today? So you might say, what's made you inquire about Pilates performance classes today? And it makes the customer accountable for inquiring. None of this, oh yeah, I just flicked through at 10:30 at night and I saw your ad and I'm not interested in. Straight to, you contacted us, what made you inquire about Pilates reformer classes. It could be what's made you inquire about personal training. I use it in swim school. What's made you inquire about swim school? Now, common sense would be if that's another facility or the kid had a bad experience in what's them inquire today, and gives you a better understanding and holds them accountable to it. They actually are not doing the bad thing. Or what's inquire with us? That question is really the starting point of your conversation. The number one reason why the inquiry to solve a problem. So shockingly, out of all the mystery calls that I've done, 80% of calls have not asked about goals. And that is like unbelievable, since that's the reason why the person have come in. So the way we're handling the calls is that we're not even engaging with that person's needs. We're still trying to sell them something better, whether it be the appointment, a trial pass, or go on to online join. That of 80% of calls that I've ever done, which is thousands, the person's getting driven into, actually, to be honest, most of them are hopeless that they're not even asking for appointments as well. It's just like a useless call. So it sets the brand. If the staff members, been useless on that call, and I mean really useless, like they didn't introduce their name, there was no purpose, they just were like, oh, what do you want to do at the gym, or what do you want to do with yoga, or really intimidating, like, oh, what style of yoga do you like? Like sometimes people don't actually understand what they just know that they would like to try. So make sure that if you're doing your follow-up, the most important thing is you make stacks of notes in your CRM, or if you're using a paper trail, write down what happened. Make sure there's notes. So I rang Mary. She wanted to talk to her husband, XYZ, what's happening. Call back on Tuesday after 7. Like there's got to be the dialogue about what we talked about, why she didn't engage in an appointment or moving forward, and then what the client's needs and wants are. So please make sure that there's a lot of leads, a lot of notes. Otherwise, each call for the next staff member is going to be a cold call, or yourself, you're going to forget. So take lots of notes, build relationships with them, and until they, make an appointment on book or join. So number 12, have a lead flow strategy. And this would be my recommendation. Whether you want to go on and do 12 contacts is based on your business model. But for everyone, there's like, you just know if that lead's not coming to you in the first 24 hours, they're going somewhere else or they're calling off. So I always do an AM and a PM call. Now, if they sent the lead through at 4:00 in the afternoon, that will be a night call and then a morning call. But really 4 calls in the first 24 hours. So it can be 3 calls and then a text message is generally my go-to. And then you can see it's very late in the piece that we would send an email. Sending an email, put that under marketing. That's got no purpose for a sales process unless the person doesn't provide their phone number or their digit is wrong. But if that's the only way of, and the only thing I usually email is, hey, Mary, it's Amanda from XYZ Fitness. Thanks for inquiring about Reformer Pilates. Just one of the digits came through incorrectly. What's your best contact number so I can talk you through about Reformer Pilates? And so I usually get them to come through with their number, and I don't send them timetables, etc. Why? Because once you dump them with all the information, you make it really hard for them to come in because they've got the information. So it makes it really intimidating. The next process is then for them to join, and they're too far away from it. So that they need to come in and get the information. You've already got information on Instagram and Facebook and your website. So if they haven't already been resourceful enough to get that, then they definitely need you taking them through your processes. So if you are going to follow up, please follow up when you say you're going to. I see a lot of times Mary requested a call back at 7 p.m. and then never got a call. So if that happened and it's 8 o'clock, please go back over and go, I'm sorry, Mary, we're sorry. We just had a few people come in this afternoon to get started. And unfortunately, we didn't get to your call until now. But how can I help you? So try and do it as quick as you can to that time frame. But I've seen 6 weeks, like someone hasn't called after they said they'll call for 6 weeks in a CRM of a leisure center. So please make sure that you are going to follow up when you say you're going to. I usually use that manual diary for that if your CRM doesn't pop you up a reminder. Number 14 is the last one, and I know I've gone through this thick and fast, but the number 14 hot tip is to cover objections. And covering objections is essential. Why? Because customers need you to remove the risk. Otherwise, they would buy everything online and everything would be super easy. Fitness is hard. People need motivation, support, and accountability. That's why they come to a fitness center instead of doing it on their own. So this process is no different than a personal training session. They need support, accountability, and motivation during their first inquiries. If you're not doing that, you're in the wrong industry. So you've got to understand this, why this person's coming to you. They need this, so it's time for us to motivate. So at this point, technology and AI only, they're not yet to cover objections. They can provide information, but they're not removing the risk for the customer. It's your job to do that. So your leads will have objections, which will need covering in order to motivate the customer and move them forward and take steps and help them to find out about your services. Okay, so if someone says they're going to go away for a trip, so if I'm on the phone to someone and they say, oh, listen, I'm away at the moment, so can you call me back next week? I say, what day are you coming back? And they say Tuesday. I'll say, well, why don't we book you a club tour on Wednesday? So there's no use me bringing her after she gets back. Her chemistry's changed, her direction's changed. She's got priorities of washing and getting her work done. And then she'll be too busy. We know that coming back from holiday is a whirlwind. So let's book her a time now, because she's away is not a reason why we can't make an appointment. And make sure you're finding real solutions to people's objections and don't get lazy. Yeah. Oops. Don't be lazy. If people don't cover objections, they're just being lazy on the phone. All right. So guys, I have an online platform with over 100 of these training videos in there called Fitness Management Training. Everything I know from the industry is in there. Go online, get yourself 14 days of training for $1. It's not an auto subscribe, so you're not going to get tricked into on buying. If you want to stay on later on and get your staff, give your staff a regular resource, or give yourself a regular resource to dive back into, fitnessmanagementtraining.com.au or .com will reroute it, but it's available all over the world. Go on there. It's got 130 plus videos and resources on, actually, so it's got like 100 and nearly 200 resources on there, because you've got call scripts and all sorts of things in there for your business. It doesn't matter how small or how big. And that's available for you to get onto today. If you would like to email me, my email address is amanda@fitnessmanagementtraining.com.au. This is my company. And I am still involved in a lot of sales training, business coaching, and marketing assistance. But you've got everything you need for yourself and your team in this platform. It's, there's a bunch of different businesses in there, from Pilates studios to leisure centers using it and working their way through it. And you might find as team come on, it's a great onboarding process for them, or you might be stuck in a certain aspect of your business today and go, okay, well, we actually need to focus on retention now. We've been really great at marketing. You'll go into the retention chapter. So there's sales, there's phone work, there's local area marketing, retention, attendance activities, new member onboarding activities, etc. So that's all there for you if you would like to go in there. 14 days completely. Well, it can't be free because the Stripe doesn't work that way. It has to be for $1. And then you can get in there and really learn and grow your businesses. But I've raced through so I can open up for questions. So let's stop that share now. And let's go back to the cameras. Now, I'm open for questions for 10 minutes. I kind of pushed the information out because it was so information heavy. I'd love to hear some of your comments, or maybe one thing that you're going to take back into your business. So happy to flick your mics or your camera on and discuss. Come on, someone's got a question. Or just even say the thing that you are going to take away from today's session. There's something that resonated with you. Dan, have you muted yourself? Yeah.
I have Braxy. I'm back here. My internet's in and out, so my apologies.
That's okay. And the training session did drop out, but I recorded it on my end, so we might have to do a merge.
You're amazing. Thank you for doing that.
All right, we've got a question come through, or a comment anyway. I love the clarity about timing of the phone calls and the texts in the first 24 hours. Yeah. So I wouldn't email. The question before was, or one of the comments I got before was, or something that I did see was that someone was asking about the email companies are trying to sell you to do lots of emails because that's how they make the money, right? So just always think about how something works. So emails play a part, but not in engagement. Emails are out there to generate a lead, and once someone puts their hand up, let's have a chat. If your business allows that to happen. So first 24 hours, yeah, blue ocean. Go off and do it your way. Letterbox drops are expensive, but I found that every time I did a letterbox drop for my businesses, funny enough, in the first, I'm going to say, let's say 15, 20 years of my industry career, I never missed a letterbox drop any month. And then with the studio, because social media became so prevalent, I letterbox dropped every second month. And that definitely worked. And then now I do it every quarter because if you can get a good price, go for it. And it varies between, I do 20,000 because I feel like 10,000 so small that you really want to be hitting 20,000, or you could do 10,000 this month in this part of your area and then 10,000 in the area. If you don't need that many leads, then 10,000 would be fine. If you're a reformer studio, 70 square meters, 10,000 would be fine. But you just got to make sure that you're looking at the two different areas because your catchment will be 20,000. So I like 20,000 because printing is not the expensive part, it's the distribution. So I'm doing a 20,000 letterbox drop next month. And I know that every time I've done one, it's always been a higher sale. The point on letterbox drops, no one's going to walk in and say, hey, I've got this flyer in the mail. I mean, hopefully they do, but they don't. When you say how did you find out about us, they're going to say I live down the road or I've always known you there because they're local, right? The second question you got to say is, did you receive anything in the mail? It's a strange one because they're never going to say, because how did you hear it about us? Well, if they're local because they're letterbox drop, they're going to say, well, I live down the road. So we never get them saying, oh, I've got the flyer in the mail. And then people say the flyers didn't work. And I'm like, but your sales are up 20%. So the flyers do work. It's just that the way that we ask them about the flyer doesn't necessarily work unless you put a QR code on it. And the QR code, they scan it and it goes to your landing page. And that's how you can track it really well. I drop once if I'm doing 20,000. If you do 10,000, sometimes I'll drop 2 of the 10,000 in the same area in the same month, but I think just one time because no one else is in your mailbox, so it's okay. So like I've just picked up the one from Sky Fitness, so that will, my husband's a client because he used to work for me in another organization, so good boy, he's well trained. That's social proof right there when I actually in the morning get a letterbox drop from one of my ex-staff or someone that worked for me that I used to train in the marketing world. So when I was his national marketing manager, so anyway, he's gone off and done that. And that's, you know, that's a great thing because generally if we weren't a client, guess where that's going? That's going on the fridge. And because I'm thinking about starting, so that flyer is going on the fridge. So you don't necessarily need to drop twice these days because people are going to hold on to something, especially if it's, you know, like a 5 for 50 or a 2 personal training session pass or a trial pass. That'll generally go on the fridge. When the pizza guys deliver their flyers, I've got a 15-year-old or 16-year-old and a 14-year-old stepsons, and I've got a 17-year-old daughter. So that pizza voucher, guess where it goes? It goes on the fridge. So when the kids want $1 pizza, they get the deals, right? I don't throw that in the bin. So that's how that will work. Or if you've got a QR code, just remember they're going to scan that and send that lead straight in. So why not put the QR code on your flyer? So that way you can also track leads. All right, let's have a look. So with the letterbox drops, who to organize them through. So I would look up your local letterbox drop supplier and then get a quote, get 2 quotes, and then ask them if they print. If they don't, then go to a printing company. So I use APA letterbox drops. I found them to be highly effective. They use GPS trackers on their walkers, so I could see where they were going. So if anybody, I could see where they're being dropped, and if anybody said that we dropped in the wrong spot, I could see that that was happening. So I like the GPS tracked ones, but they're going to be a little bit more expensive. But again, they're more effective. You're not going to get dumped flyers in bins. So APA was the guys that I used to use, APA Advertising. If you need anything, just email me and I'll email you their contact. But they were a little bit more expensive. I can find you also the distributing company that we're using for, it's just in Canberra. So I've used a different company. I can't remember who they are for the drop I'm about to do for next month for a club. But I definitely use different companies, because some of the bigger ones will slice you in between their Coles magazines. So I don't tend to use the bigger companies if I can help it. I don't want to go. So when I came to the mailbox today, there was 3 flyers in the mailbox, and that's why it stood out. When they shoved in the Woolworths magazine or the Coles magazine from the bigger companies, a lot of time that just gets binned, and they didn't even see it was something that they might like. Any other questions? Yeah. How much content do you put on a flyer? Oh, good question. So as little as possible. Just remember, a picture tells 1,000 words. The headline and the picture. So ask a question like, it could be like, winter, like summer bodies made in winter. That one really works. It could be, if you're a yoga studio, you could be doing winter warrior program. It could be around, get out of the rain, get into the club, or something like that. You make that more catchy, and you do a picture of someone comfortably working out in the club, nice, and with maybe, with some nice active wear on, and if you've got a solution, 4 sessions for $25 or whatever, and that would be on the front with your logo, and then the back could be some content, or even better, a map of where you're located. So, and then your QR code, your address, your phone number, that sort of thing. But you can put a little text on the back for sure. Don't ever print on one side, because it shows that you're cheap, right? No one wants to see white. And also, you just paid to get that dropped, print on the back. The cost of printing is not the highest expense in letterbox dropping. It's definitely the distribution. So distribution companies will need to be quoted. And even you might want to just see, look, I always try with anyone first, and if it doesn't work, I'll just get another one. So, but it's doing things offline. You don't even have to have a letterbox drop company. If you're a smaller boutique, my guys were out every day, 50 flyers handing out and bringing back 2 to 3 leads a day. Like, they actually were doing probably more leads than that, because their goal was 60 to 80 a month, or 60 to 100 a month. The manager was incentivized for my own studio, if the staff went out. And I mean, these are just receptionists or whoever we had doing admin work or sales. And every day they always asked. We had a great culture. They were like, I'm going out. We never had to ask anyone to go out. And they'd come back and say, oh, I did 30 leads or 35 leads today. I handed out 35 flyers, but we had this ongoing street reach campaign where we would go and physically hand them to people, because it's different than when you're dropping. And so even that, like, so many of our members actually came in and said, someone gave me this flyer out in the marketplace, and that was really effective as well. So if you don't have a big budget for letterbox dropping, it'll cost anywhere between $2,500, probably $2,000 to $3,000 for 20,000. So if your budget's not there, then do 10. But if your budget's not even that, then you could do like the outreach campaigns that we've talked to you about, where we were just handing them out, 50 a day to people, not putting them in letterboxes. I wouldn't pay my staff to go put them in letterboxes, because other people can do that. It's the handing to people that gave it. Then you've got chats, and then I'd always take their name and number, and then I've got a lead, and then I've even booked them for a tour at outreach. So yeah. But again, it's the follow-up of the lead. So if we did that, when do we call them? It's the same thing, 4 times in the first 24 hours. Every lead comes through the channel the same way, except for competition leads. Any last questions? You're all good? Well, good session, guys.
Thank you, Braxy. Amazing as always. I will get that second half of the recording off you as well, so we can get that out to everybody. Thank you. Make sure you connect with Braxy. Braxy is a wealth of information. Take advantage of the resources, the offers that she gives as well, because you can see that it's first class. So make sure you take advantage of those resources. Thank you, Braxy. You've been incredible.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you to everyone that's watching both on live and replay as well. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great Friday.
Bye.